Should juveniles be charged as adults for violent crimes? Can a juvenile mind comprehend their actions? We have all seen the news stories of violent crimes committed by those under the age of 18. These crimes evoke deep emotions and make us question how we as a society have failed these children. So, my question to you for today is, should juveniles be tried as adults? And at what age can a juvenile mind truly comprehend his or her crime? Imagine, if you will, a 12-year-old girl with an undiagnosed mental illness who finds a character online named Slender Man. In her mind, Slender Man is telling her she must kill someone or else he will come back and kill her and her family. She convinces her friend, another 12-year-old, to do the same with her, and a third friend they take out to the woods of Wisconsin, nearly stabbing her to death and leaving her for dead. Sadly, this is a true story that took place in 2014 in Waukesha, Wisconsin, where two 12-year-old girls were charged with aggravated attempted homicide. Those juveniles were Morgan Geyser and Anissa Weir. Morgan Geyser was the mastermind of this plot, and Anissa Weir went along with it. At the time, Morgan Geyser was an undiagnosed schizophrenic, and Anissa Weir suffered from depression and anxiety. During the trial, the defense attorneys for both of these girls wanted to show the court that their developmental state was not that of someone who could comprehend their crime. In fact, they were so terrified of the Slender Man they could not even speak his name in court. The dynamic mapping of the human cortical development clearly shows that a human brain is not completely developed until the age of 20. In both of these defendants' cases, their brains fall somewhere in between the second and third brains that are being shown here. And this is very crucial and important as far as culpability goes, because during these developmental stages of the frontal cortex, this is what controls decision-making, impulse control, and comprehension. And neither of these girls had a fully developed brain at the time of their convictions. Both girls were ultimately convicted of the crime. Anissa Weir served 25 years in a secure mental health facility. She was released in 2021. Morgan Geyser continues her time in a mental health facility, and she will be there for another 25 years. The juvenile system has developed since the 19th century. Prior to that, a 7-year-old could serve time with an adult in a prison for something as simple as theft. During the 20th century, the juvenile system evolved into a secure juvenile system whereby juvenile records could be sealed at the age of 18 and juvenile crimes and names were not disclosed publicly until that point. This mapping here is of the United States, and each state and what time frame and age a juvenile can be charged as an adult. The median age is about 17 years old for most states. With that comes these exclusions down below listed here: the statutory exclusion, judicially controlled transfer, prosecutorial discretion, and statutory exclusion and prosecutorial discretion. In statutory exclusion, that is when a prosecutor can bring forth a case, but it must be waived off by a judge in order for that case to go to an adult court. Judicially controlled transfer is when the judge is the one who decides what crime can be charged and whether it will be judged and whether it will be seen in an adult court. Prosecutorial discretion is just that. The prosecutor decides the crime, and he alone, without any waivers from the judge or the court system, can try the child as an adult. Statutory exclusion and prosecutorial discretion work hand in hand to determine what type of crime can be charged, but can also just be brought forth with the court with no waivers. What can we do to try to alleviate some of the violent juvenile crime that we have seen change in the last 10 years? A lot of it begins with understanding juveniles and what they're going through right now and the amount of support and emotional and mental illness that is undiagnosed. A lot of these programs that are brought about in the juvenile system are called diversion programs. These work hand in hand with the juvenile court system in order to take teens who have been convicted of lesser violent crimes to help them get the emotional and mental support and other support services that they might need so that they might not offend as adults. The schools play an incredibly important part in juvenile crime. and being able to identify children who are at risk while they're in the school system. These children may be loners, have difficulty socializing, may be picked on or bullied. In the last 10 years, bullying has become a well-known fact of juvenile crime, as it causes children to have great emotional distress, anxiety, and deep-seated fears. These often result in juveniles acting out in schools and against their teachers, staff, and peers. What do all of these have in common? Diversion programs and schools policies. Funding. Funding is important, and funding is lacking in social services to help juveniles who are at risk. It is important for you to get involved. We can no longer just sit by and watch news stories with apathy with regards to juvenile crime. Go to your school board meetings. See what policies and programs are in place. See how they can improve. Make your voice heard about the funding that can be done. Go to your state. Look at your state senators and your governor's office. See what can be done to help these children who are in deep crisis get the services they need before a violent crime happens. As the old African proverb says, it takes a village to raise a child, and we as a society can no longer stand by and wait for somebody else to help raise these children and help them with what they need. In conclusion, I'd just like to say involvement in your community, involvement in your schools, involvement in your state government is the only way to help children learn and grow and be able to have the services they need so that violent crimes like that of the Slender Man don't happen. Thank you so much.